Oh, hey. Um, I was busy trying to share the show. Um, okay. So I started this show with the intention of getting super vulnerable and telling you guys when I struggle. And, um, so far it's been pretty good, pretty upbeat. Like, whatever, I haven't been struggling. But today is definitely going to be different. And hopefully, you guys will stick with me. And hopefully, some of you can relate and share your experiences in the chat, so I don't feel alone and crazy. um, I I'm going to be honest, I really don't have much to complain about. You know, I'm going to preface by saying that my life is fantastic. My husband's amazing. My kids are great. I love my job, whatever. But, you know, you don't have to have a shitty life to struggle sometimes. And that's the point that, I wanted to make with the show, is just to tell people that, like, it's okay to be in a funk sometimes. You just have to learn to recognize it, and you have to learn ways that you can get through it. It's not always easy. um I My birthday is coming up. And you would think like that's supposed to be like a happy thing, but my brain decided that it's not going to be a happy thing, and that we're going to stress about it. And I think that somebody brought up to me, seasonal depression is a real thing. And um that's great when your birthday is in January, because you're right in the middle of that, and then you add your birthday to it. I am turning 40, which is not terrible. Like, when I think about it, I'm exactly where I wanted to be when I turned 40, but for some reason it's really bothering me. But so my brain convinced me that I should not do anything for my birthday. I should not celebrate. Um, I should not ask anybody if they want to go out. I should not do anything, because my friendship is a burden to people, and don't ask them to go out with you, because people have more important things to do and whatever. So um, I decided not to do anything for my birthday. But hey, Penny. Um, and so that's one of the things that I've been struggling with. I did talk to my husband tonight and just explain to him like why I'm all over the place, because I do want to do something, and then I don't want to do something, and then I do and then I don't, whatever. So we decided that we are going to do something, but it took me a while to get to that. Um, Birthdays are rough, and especially when you are the person who, I'm the mom, so I'm always, making sure everybody else's birthday parties are planned, and making sure that they feel special on their birthdays. And it gets to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to plan my own birthday party. Like, I don't know, I want somebody else to do it, but also I don't want anybody to make a fuss about me. Anyways, that's a whole ridiculous thing. But I think that if it wasn't such bad timing, I also wouldn't have such an issue with it. Um, I have to have surgery. I have to get a hysterectomy on February 13th, and that's super stressful. Um, I'm not necessarily worried about the surgery, just the recovery time and not being able to do my job, and not being able to do things around the house. It's just something that is really been bothering me. I know that it'll be fine. I know that it'll be good. I know that I need to have it done. So I'll be okay. But my brain likes to imagine every single possible thing that could go wrong and all of the ways that everybody is going to be inconvenienced by my surgery. And so that's really been bothering me a lot. But the main thing, I just wanted to give you guys a little backstory as to why I've been stressed out and promise you that I'm fine. I really am fine. Um, I, w- I love you, Shelly. um, the main thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is self love and self grace. It's definitely something that I do not possess, and I will admit that 100%. But I watched a TikTok, of course, and this lady was talking about how she, didn't want to go to the gym, and then this woman said, "Well, just don't go. You're going to quit anyways." And then she was at the gym and she sees some people who are a little chubby and they're walking at a slow pace on the track. And she looked at those people and she thought, oh my gosh, that's so great. What a great way to start your weight loss journey. I'm so proud of them. Good for them for showing up, whatever. And then she's like jogging around the track. And this woman says, if you're going to go that slow, why are you even here? And, obviously that's this woman swore a lot in her video, but um then she's in the locker room and she's going to change so that she can swim, and this woman tells her, nobody wants to see that. Go cover yourself up. Nobody wants to see you in a bathing suit. You're disgusting. And it turns out that woman was herself, and that's how she talks to herself. And it just, I really could relate to that. I feel like I am so not judgmental when it comes to literally every other person on the planet. If I walk into your house, you could have stuff piled up 4 feet tall. You could have a week's worth of dishes in the sink. Like, I would never, ever think anything bad. Like, okay, cool. They're busy, whatever. It's not a big deal. But when it comes to ourselves and what we say to ourselves, um, we don't do that, and we don't allow ourselves the same grace, and we don't ever, give ourselves the leeway that we give to other people, and we're constantly judging ourselves for it. Let me catch up on these comments real quick. Wolliver says that Mara had to have a hysterectomy. I definitely would tell Mara to message me, because I tell her to message me just, the do's and don'ts and what to worry about, what not to. I know your doctor will tell you all of that, but it's still scary. Penny says, you took care of them. It's their time to do for you. Yeah. I know that everybody I'm sure will take care of me. I'm not worried about that, but I just feel bad again with the self-love thing. I will help anyone anytime, but I hate to ask for help, even if it's even if I'm recovering from surgery and, actually need it. I still feel bad. Ben says, same here. I feel like I sacrificed too much and I should have been more attentive to myself. Yeah, it's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you do have a giving heart. You always want to do for other people, and you always want to make sure that other people are happy. And sometimes it does get in the way of making sure that you're happy. And it's a hard thing to train yourself to do. Eddie Pence is here. Hello, Eddie. So have you guys ever heard of this Christina? What is her last name? Kuzmik? This lady? Have you guys ever heard of her? Or watched any of her videos or anything? She is phenomenal. And she did a whole video about our inner monologues and how we talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves. And, she started by saying, I am so whatever. Penny, she is great. I'm so nice to other people and so accepting and not judgmental. But then when it comes to myself, then I just can't do it. And I can't. But what she did is she had a couple of her friends come in and she told them, like, what are things that you say to yourself? And her friends are saying, like, I'm not a good mom, I'm a pig, I can't keep my house clean, blah, blah, blah. And then she held up a picture of these people when they were kids, little kids. And she said, I want you to say it to her. And of course, all these people are crying and they're saying, I can't say it to her. Um, and it really was a good exercise to think about. Like, would you say that to an innocent child? Would you say that to someone you love? If you walked into your best friend's house and it was messy, would you say, oh my God, you're such a pig? No, of course not. So why are you saying that to yourself all the time? You know how they tell you to put yourself in other people's shoes when you're trying to figure out their situation? Like, put yourself in other people's shoes when it comes to what you're going to say to yourself. If that was somebody else, what would you say? Would you say those nasty, disgusting things to somebody else? No, of course not. So try not to say it to yourself. I know I have no room to talk because it is one of my biggest things. I am always encouraging other people. Oh my gosh, you're doing so great. Every step is important and, take your time and whatever. But when it comes to me, I'm like, no, it has to be done. It has to be perfect. And if not, I'm a complete failure. Tina's seen a bunch of her videos. She's a rock star. Honestly, that lady, oh my gosh, I love her so much. I pretty much cry at every video that she makes, but also laugh because she is phenomenal. I would love to meet her someday. Or she does tours too, where she like goes around and talks to people. I guess just like motivational speaking. I don't know. I would definitely go. If I had time to read, I would read her books as well. But hi, Peggy. Peggy's done with her treatment, which is freaking amazing. And I'm so happy about that. So everybody tell Peggy congratulations. And hopefully we can get back to seeing you on a regular basis because we all miss you so much. Julie's asking who we're talking about. We were talking about Christina Kuzmik, I'm guessing is how you say her last name. This lady. She's so funny and so smart and so motivational. She's phenomenal. She's a mom. She's been through a divorce. She's been through all kinds of stuff. And she just talks about her experiences. And I think she started by making videos where she would like hide in her closet and pretend to be like eating, something, eating ice cream, hiding from her kids or whatever. And she would just talk about her kids and what it's like being a mom and whatever. And that's how her videos started. But she makes some really good videos. If you guys are ever having a day where you're just not feeling like you're your best self, go and watch her. And she really is motivating. So the other thing, I don't know if my sister's watching. Corey, if you're here, will you say hi? Another thing that happened this week, which was very stressful, not for me so much, but was my sister's very best friend growing up passed away. And it was not a very nice way to die. And, just she came home for the funeral and was home for a few days, and just watching her go through that was very hard. They had been through so much together, the two of them. And so that was very hard. I don't know about you guys, but I take on everyone's emotions around me, good or bad. If people are in a good mood, if people are happy, I'm super happy for them, and I take it. I take on all the emotions, good or bad. So that was just really, really rough to watch her go through. Um, but yeah, I'm okay. It's gonna take a couple of days, but I'll get there. I was telling my husband tonight because he okay, if you guys don't know my husband, we are polar opposites. Polar opposites. Um, he likes to joke that his emotions that he feels are like hunger and being tired. Like, that's it. And then there's me who has every single emotion and I feel them all 100%. Um, so we were talking tonight and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm very extra. I'm It's bad when it's a bad emotion. I feel them very hard and I have a hard time with them. But also at the same time, like I love so many things. And there's so many things that I get excited about that are so mundane to other people. Um, like I absolutely love the way that ducks look when they fly into the water and they land in the water. Like the way they tuck their little feet up makes me so happy. Everybody else just watches it and they're like, "Oh, cool, a duck, whatever." Um, so it's a blessing and a curse to feel emotions at max level all the time. And as long as you can figure out ways to keep yourself in the happy part, it's good. But it's hard. Oh, Julie found her. Um, Everybody loves Peggy. If you guys don't know Peggy, she's an angel who walks on this planet amongst us humans that we don't deserve. So what sorry, what do you guys want to talk about? Do you guys have any questions? I was just rambling for a long time. I I just I don't do you guys feel like everything is so negative lately in terms of like feeling emotions, like just the world in general? Everybody's so mean to each other. Everybody hates each other. Everything's so, divided. People who used to be close now hate each other. It seems like there's so much hatred in this world, and it's just way too much for me. And sometimes I think that I need to just turn off social media um, for many reasons. But one of them is if you're on social media, do me a favor, don't ever open the comments. Like, don't ever open the comments. That's like rule number one. I'm normally pretty good at it because as soon as someone posts an opinion and you open the comments, it doesn't even have to be um, an opinion, but people are just so downright morally repulsive. It's crazy to see. We love you too, Nancy. Um, I try not to open the comments. Tina said, I don't watch the news and I'm only on social media to check my family and friends. I agree. There's way too much hate in this world. Yeah. So that is one of the reasons that I try to avoid social media because of just the constant negativity and the constant hatred and just people are so nasty to each other, but also because then you avoid the whole thing where you're looking at everybody else and their perfect lives and everybody's so happy and whatever. um so I have been trying to not be on social media as much. Still sharing memes though, because, I have to. But, I I I unfortunately can't totally get away from it because, I have both of the shows are on social media. My work, a lot of it is on social media. A big part of, trying to get new clients and whatever is constantly having to update my social media and stay on top of it. I can't just like if somebody messages my real estate page, I can't just like, "Oh, sorry, I was taking a mental break for 4 days." So, I try to only, check my business pages and then, skedaddle because it's a lot. So if you guys ever post a picture of your dogs or, whatever, feel free to tag me in the comments so I can make sure I see it. And I will never be mad at you for sending me a picture of puppies, just so you know. Um, have you guys ever taken a break from social media, like for an extended period of time? I have really been debating it lately, but like I said, it's hard. I really can't, but I would love to. I feel like if you did take a break, was it like, did you miss people or was it like a fresh start? Like, I did stop watching the news, Tina. That was a huge one for me. Um, because if you watch the news, you will just assume that the world outside of your door is falling apart and everybody hates each other and there's just stuff burning down all the time and everywhere you go there's a protest and everybody hates each other. But honestly, like if you just turn off the news and you just pay attention to your neighbors instead of paying attention to the news, like just go to the grocery store and talk to people, you'll see that it's not what they're showing on the news. They obviously need to do things for ratings. So they do things to scare you and they do things to divide you. And because that's what gets the ratings, that's what people like to watch. So just, yeah, if you can cut out one thing, I would definitely say the news. Um, Stop watching all of the newses and just go out there and actually form your own opinions of the world based on the world around you, not based off of what the TV tells you the world is like, because it's two totally different things. Um, that's a very, very good one to get rid of, Tina. Hello, Sarah. Tina said she would love to hop off social media, but I feel like I would miss out on my paranormal world. Yeah, honestly, I have so many people on social media that like I've never met them in real life, but I can genuinely tell you that I love them, and I feel like they're a big part of my life and I feel like I would miss out on all of that. And especially because I do love to see people's success, whatever it means to them, whatever they're working on, that they're finally doing something or they made a step forward or they are on a podcast or whatever. I love to see other people succeeding and following their dreams and doing what makes them happy. So I would miss out on all of that. I wish there was a way that you could just block certain things, like give Facebook a list of words that you want to avoid. And if those words are in a post or in the comments, then I don't want to see it. Because I would love to be able to just focus on the positive stuff on social media because there really is a lot, which is, I'm so torn on it. It's such a love-hate relationship I have with social media because the people that are on there are not people that I talk to every day. I don't have their cell phone numbers. I don't see them, every day. So it would be hard. I would miss those people. Sarah's saying hi to Eddie and Shelly. Um, Sorry. Tina, that's smart. Tina's been unliking a ton of pages on Facebook, just keeping paranormal stuff. Um, that's a good idea too, especially if you have those pages that tend to spark controversy and spark people's disgusting comments. You know what I don't understand about the whole social media commenting is like, when did we make this jump to just treating people like shit? You know, I think that people forget that that's a human being on the other side of whatever you're typing. You know, people forget. They just think like, oh, they're disagreeing with the comment. No, you're disagreeing with a person and you're saying something to a person. And I think that having everything online really like takes the humanity out of it and people do forget that. Um, you know, we were always taught that I don't know like a nice way to say this. You know, you want to treat people as if they're really struggling because really you should. You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know what kind of struggles they have. You don't know what sort of mental state they're in. And at the end of the day, as terrible as it sounds, you don't know if your comment is going to be the last thing, the last straw. Maybe that person's struggling with thoughts of suicide, and then you go and say something like, I can't imagine ever attacking somebody that way. Um, it really it really kills me. I don't know why this is a thing now. I don't know why, as soon as somebody has a different opinion, you instantly go for personal attacks and, you know, like calling people's work and getting them fired and like literally destroying somebody's life because they have a different opinion than you. I'm an 80s baby. That's not how things happened. I'm so thankful. Gosh, I'm so thankful that we didn't have social media when I was a kid. Um, because people kind of just like got in a fight about it and then that was it. It was the end of it. Um, Nobody was calling people's family, nobody was calling people's jobs, nobody was taking it, you know, if you got bullied at school and then you had peace at home. Whereas now I feel so bad for these kids. They, you know, if you're getting bullied at school, that doesn't end when you get on the school bus. Like now kids don't even have friends that are just in their school. Like my son's 18 and like a lot of his good friends, you know, were people from other cities, you know, whatever, because between all the social media, these kids are so connected to each other. They could have friends literally from around the world. And so when these kids are getting bullied, it doesn't end when they get on the school bus. It doesn't end when they get home. They don't have a safe place at home. They don't have like a break from the bullying. It just continues and it just spreads and gets bigger instead of like, you know, you get bullied at school and then that's the end of it. They get bullied and then it goes to social media and then people literally from all over the world are participating in this. And they don't ever have silence from it. Sorry, Roscoe's really struggling back there. If you hear something that sounds like an old man getting up off the couch, that's Roscoe. Tina, I would love to hop back to the 80s. I always talk about my childhood. My kids probably think I'm so weird because I'm like, we had no Xbox, we had no internet. Um, it was fantastic though. Hey, John, thanks for popping in for a minute or 3 to 5 minutes. I appreciate it. Sarah says, I just wish people weren't so mean. And what makes me mad is when you stand up for yourself or someone else, you're automatically the problem. Yeah. Um, I I hate to see somebody get bullied, especially like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I am very big into supporting small businesses. I'm actually the president of a company, or not a company, a nonprofit called Project 528, where we just work to support Madison businesses. And especially when I see businesses getting bullied, it really bothers me, because people don't understand your little comment can literally destroy somebody's life. And maybe they do understand that. And maybe that's what's wrong with this world, is that they do understand that they are going to destroy this person's life and they just continue to do it. Um, I have small businesses reach out to me a lot because I don't care. If I know that something that somebody is saying is not true on like one of their stupid little keyboard crusader posts, I will call them out on it and I will say, no, that's absolutely not true. That's not how it works. Whatever. As a small business owner, you can't do that because you can't fight back against the customer because the customer is always right, right? So they can't say anything. I can. I don't care. I will say I will stand up for those businesses, and I've had so many people thank me, like, "I couldn't say anything, so thank you for saying something." Um, because for example, I have a friend who owns a business, and I won't get into it, but there was a woman who was claiming that one of her employees was racist. And this small business owner, oh my gosh, like, when you think of a peace-loving hippie, this is her. She is so wonderful. She loves everybody, like, so much. She's so kind, she's so understanding, she's nowhere near judgmental. She would never, ever, no way she could be considered racist, and somebody said that, and I stood up for her, and I kept fighting this person, and it turns out that it was not even, like, remotely true, and she thanks me for that, and I wish more people would do that, instead of just automatically like, "Oh, this happened, let's ban that place, never go there, let's do all these bad Yelp reviews," whatever. Listen, if you go to McDonald's and they mess up your order, you just, like, get over it, right? But when it's a small business, people feel the need to go online and give them all these bad reviews and say all these bad things about them. That if McDonald's gets a bad review, nobody cares. But for some reason, for small businesses, it is everything. And if they have one bad review, you are literally taking money. You're taking their livelihood. You're taking, their kids being able to go to summer camp or whatever. You're taking so much from them when it's a small business. It's so different for small businesses. So I try to stand up for them whenever I can. John John said, "Forget the '80s. I wish I grew up in the '70s." I mean, that would be amazing too. Definitely good music too. But you know what? Hi, Patience. Um, I do like the fact, because I was born in '83, and so we were kinda like on that cusp of, you know, not having the technology and, like, being the first ones to have that technology, and that was pretty cool. If we could have, like, stopped technology at Oregon Trail and Nokia 5160 phones, I'd be all set. I think we went a little too far with it, but it was cool to be there when, all that stuff came out. John says social media can be great, but also has many pitfalls. He only uses it to share things from his life that he wants to, and keep up with his good friends. Yeah. That's another thing is a lot of my family doesn't live here. They don't get to see my kids hardly ever. Literally my family in Florida sees them once every 10 years. So it's really important to me to be able to keep up with people like that. People that you don't see all the time, I feel even people that I've never met before, I feel like I know their kids. I've watched them grow up. And so social media is important for me for that reason, just sharing the things that I want to about my life. People are going to talk anyways. You might as well give them something to talk about. It's pretty important for that reason. But I do, oh gosh, I wish that we could just stop with the bullying, especially because, okay, tell me when in the history of social media any single person has looked at someone's rant, right? Like somebody's going off on somebody. You're an idiot. How could you think that? This is the blah blah blah. Okay, so they're ranting and raving and telling, the personal attacks, and they're telling people they're stupid and they're telling people whatever. When in the history of social media has a person read a comment like that and said, "You know what? You're right. I'm going to change my view on the topic." Never. That doesn't happen. So I don't know why people think that they're so righteous and that they have to give their opinions and they have to tell everybody what they think and they have to it doesn't matter. I know that people are very strong in their opinions, right? And they feel like they're right. Well, guess what? So does the other person. And you going off on this big Facebook rant or Twitter rant or whatever and attacking that person is not going to change their mind. You are not a social justice warrior. You are not a keyboard crusader. You're just a bully. And that's the thing that I wish that people would understand about social media is like, you may think you're changing the world, but you're not. You're literally just spreading negativity and making things worse. It's never going to make anything better to sit there and attack somebody on social media. John says, I grew up in the 90s. Sorry to sound like a nerd for a second. I know this isn't about geeking out, but I miss the excitement from the Scholastic book fairs as a kid. Listen, they still have Scholastic book fairs. And I still geek out about them. I love it. And I always try to give my kids money for the book fair, but 9 times out of 10, they buy all the other stupid shit that comes in the book fair. It's not ever books, which is fine because we have like 5,000 books at our house. But now they have, I don't know, maybe they did it as a kid. I didn't really get to buy things at the Scholastic book fairs, but they have all these things that are like, gigantic pens and, erasers that go on your pencils and like all this other stuff that's not books. And, I'll give my kids like 10 or 20 bucks and then they come home with a bunch of like dollar store trinkets instead of books. But whatever, it's fine. They do a lot of reading. That's fine. John says Tom McDonald had a rap lyric about that. Something about social justice warriors, why they tweet from an iPhone and sip on Starbucks. Yeah, it's while they're like making fun of people for, or, talking about struggles and whatever. It's just, I don't ever, John, John said he went ham over Harry Potter and Goosebumps when he was a kid. John, I have a bunch of Goosebumps books because I buy them at garage sales and stuff when I see them. And I'm like secretly hoping that someday my kids will love them too. In the scary stories to read in the dark and Shel Silverstein books. I bought all of them because, just hoping that my kids will follow in my nerdy footsteps. But yeah, it's just I don't understand. I guess I don't understand like being mean to people anyways. I like what's the point of it? So you're having a bad day and so you need to make other people have a bad day so that will make you feel better? Or I don't know. I guess I, I don't know. I just don't understand the point of being mean to people. ever. I'm not saying, like, not standing up for yourself or things like that. Obviously, that's a huge difference. I don't think that you should just go around getting walked all over all the time, but to just be mean to somebody for no other reason than to make them feel bad, I d it's just not a human concept that I can understand. Um, I'm not even in school, I didn't really I mean, my last name was Burger, so I got picked on a lot for that and obviously looks, but, um, I was just friends with everybody. I didn't really understand the point of hating people just because other people told me to. But I definitely do feel bad for these kids. It's definitely a whole different world of bullying. And it goes back to, you know, we can't parent our kids the way that we were parented because it's a totally different world. There's so many things that our parents never had to deal with that, like I tell Ryan, my oldest, that, we're learning this together. He's going through it, but I'm learning it at the same time. It's not anything that I ever had to worry about. Tina says, if I think someone looks nice or their eyes are so pretty, I just always blurt it out and tell that person. Same. Same. Or you guys met my sister now. Um, I she's one of those people. Like, my favorite is, she called a store or something, and the person answered, and her name was Ariel, and Corey's like, "Did you say your name's Ariel?" And she's like, "Yeah." And Corey's like, "I appreciate that name so much. I love it." And then she, like, forgets why she's calling because she's just focused on complimenting these people. But that's such a good thing to do, Tina. Like, again, you have no idea what people are going through. You don't know if that is their last straw. Maybe that person is so down in the dumps. Like, maybe this is their, like, they hate everything in the world. And all it takes is for you to be like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. And it can totally change their day. And if you have the power to totally change somebody's day for good or bad, like, why the hell would you choose to hurt somebody on purpose when you know that the words that come out of your mouth or the words that you type can do a 180, whether it's good or bad, and you choose to be mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Sarah says, people can look so beautiful on the outside, but can be so ugly on the inside. I'm a bully survivor. I try to show kindness and love to everyone. That's awesome that you chose that path. I feel like a lot of people who were bullied react by bullying other people to try to feel the other side of it, to feel powerful or whatever they're doing. So it's very important that you do that. That's perfect. It's perfect. If everyone could take that attitude, we wouldn't have bullies anymore. Tina says, I'm like Corey. I'll be talking to someone and out of the blue, I'll be like, I love your hair. And then I forget what I was saying. High five, Corey. She seriously is just, we'll be driving by somebody and she'll just like scream out the window, like, I love your shirt. And that probably totally makes that person's day. I do want to talk about Sarah's comment too a little bit more because, a lot of times when you have adults who just treat people very shitty, a lot of times their excuse is like, oh, well, I was emotionally abused by so and so, or I went through this, or I went through that, or whatever. And it's like, okay, so you know how that feels. You know how it feels to be bullied. You know how it feels to be emotionally abused. And yet you chose to do that to somebody else. That's always been an anomaly to me. I feel like if you've been through bullying or you've been through emotional abuse, that's something that you would never, ever, ever want another person to feel at your hands. You know, you wouldn't want to be the cause of somebody to feel that way. And sadly, that's not how it works. There's so many adults who just treat people like garbage and then will say it's because I was treated like garbage. Like, okay, uh maybe don't do that. Maybe you know how that feels. Don't do that. So I do really appreciate um you doing that, Sarah, and showing people kindness and love. It just doesn't make sense to me to do anything but that, but you'd be surprised. Tina says a person's beauty grows tenfold to me if they are even more beautiful on the inside. Yes. So I was talking to Shelly about this not too long ago. I have this weird thing where I actually don't even notice people's outsides. I know that sounds really weird to say it out loud like that. But we were talking, I don't even know how it started, but like if somebody gets a haircut, I don't really notice. And I apologize. You know, I'm not that friend. I'm not that friend that's going to notice that you lost 50, 100 pounds. I'm not that friend. And I know that sounds terrible. And it really bothered me. Like, I should be more observant of the people around me, right? Like, I should notice if somebody chops off 2 feet of their hair or dyes their hair purple or whatever. But then I realized that it's because I don't care. I don't care. And I know that sounds weird to say it that way, but I don't care if somebody weighs 120 pounds or 420 pounds. I don't care if somebody spends $2,000 to get their hair done or they cut their hair themselves and it's thrown up in a ponytail. I don't care what people's makeup is. I don't care what kind of clothes they're wearing. So you could wear the same clothes for a month straight and I would not notice. Um, and yeah, that's a character flaw, but I promise it's because I don't care. I don't care about people's outsides. I don't care what kind of clothes they wear. I don't care. I don't care. So I don't notice it. And so I don't notice differences in it. So if you're waiting for me to say, oh, I like your new haircut, I'm sorry. I won't. I probably won't notice. Even if it's somebody that I see all the time. Because I don't care about people's outsides. I'm definitely a I'm going to pay attention to your soul kind of person. Um because that kind of stuff doesn't matter to me. A person's beauty grows tenfold. Yeah, I read that one. Um Sorry, Ryan's awake. He scared me. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't notice things like that. Um and like what kind of car people drive. There's people that have probably had the same car for like five. You know what? I would be the perfect person to have a surprise party for because you could literally park the cars there and I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't know whose car it was unless it's Shelly's car because she has all those bumper stickers. But I don't pay attention to the cars that people drive. You know, my husband will be like, oh, there's so and so. I don't know what kind of car they drive because I don't care what kind of car people drive. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care whatever. All I care about is if you're a good person. That's it. And maybe make me laugh sometimes. That's it. That's all you gotta do. I'm a pretty easy to please person. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. Because you know what? I've met some people who are super high up in a company and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And you know what? They're an asshole. And I've met janitors who are the kindest, most amazing people you'll ever meet. And they're the janitor at that same company. I've always been taught to treat people with the same respect, and I just literally don't care. I'm actually tell me if you guys think this is weird or not. Um, I'm one of those people that, like, if somebody's talking to me about money, it makes me uncomfortable. Don't tell me that you spent $1,500 on a purse. Don't tell me that your car costs $250,000. Like, that makes me uncomfortable. That is not impressive to me. Um, like, cool, I'm happy for you that you're successful and able to buy those things. I'm sure you worked very hard to get it, whatever. But I'm the kind of person, like, brag to me that you got that at a garage sale for $5. That's that's a brag to me. Um, when I give a tour of my house to people who have never been here before, that's the kind of tour I get. And I'm like, here's the living room. I got that on the side of the road and repainted it. It was free. You know, I'm not a fan of people throwing that kind of stuff in my face because it means nothing to me. At the end of the day, everybody's story can change tomorrow. You know, the person who makes a ton of money, their company could fold and they could have no job tomorrow. And all they have is all of this extravagant stuff that they're going to have to pay for or sell or whatever. And you know, I could buy a winning lottery ticket tomorrow and never have to worry about money again. Um, things can change so quickly. And that's something that people don't realize. Like, yeah, cool, you make a ton of money. That could change. I'm in real estate. The market could crash. I could not have a job tomorrow. And I understand that. But there's a lot of people who don't understand that. Sarah says, judge a person by the merit of their character, how they treat people. Absolutely. Um, there was a Facebook meme that said something about, like, I know everything I need to know about a person by how they treat their wait staff and whether or not they put their shopping cart back at at the store. Those are the kind of things I judge people on, you know. I don't I don't really care about the money stuff, but if you are a good person, then you're a good person. Doesn't matter how much money you make. But there's people that forget that. Um, so just keep that in mind. And if you're struggling with money, keep it in mind. Things could change tomorrow. You could be totally rich. Um, it's our situation is never promised to stay that way. You know, every day is a starting point, right? You know, we think that it's the end. We think that this is how things are, but honestly, every single day is a starting point, and tomorrow could be totally different, good or bad. So we need to just make sure that we're keeping that in mind. Um, and that's another awesome video. I'm telling you, you guys need to go watch that girl. But she was talking about how, you know, every day is just, I forget how she says it, but she says that it's just temporary. And when you are struggling with something, you should tell yourself, like, you know, maybe I can't pay the bills. Like, add right now to the end of everything to remind yourself that it's not going to be that way forever. You know, I can't pay the electric bill right now. Not to say it's going to be that way forever. You know, my kids drive me crazy right now. They're going to grow out of this phase. They're going to, you know, whatever. You guys will work through it. Um, if you, I hate my job right now. It's not going to be that way forever. Either you are going to learn how to do your job different, you're going to get a new boss, you're going to find a new job, whatever. Like, everything is a right now. It doesn't have to stay that way. And sometimes it seems like things are never going to change. But if you just, actually, Facebook is good for this. If you look at your Facebook memories and you go back a year or 5 years or whatever, and think about how much your life has changed in that 1 year, and think about how that seemed like it was just yesterday, right? A year goes by so fast. So if you imagine how much your life changed, good or bad, in that last year, then just know that it can change again in, within a year. And your life could be totally different in a year. Um, so just keep that in mind and try to add the right now to the end of whatever struggle you're going through, because it's not going to be that way forever. I went to a gym and was working out for a while, and um, I didn't want to write my number down for my weight or whatever. And uh, the trainer was like, he's like, what are you, what? And I was like, I just don't want to write this number down. And he's like, it's a, it's a starting point, not a death sentence. So, or a life sentence. Um, so everything is like that. It's not a life sentence. It doesn't have to stay that way forever. Um, and sometimes you might have to get creative to get things to change the way you want them to, but nothing is impossible. You just might have to work hard. And sometimes that's scary, but um yeah. What else? Anything that you guys need to talk about? I do feel better. I do feel much better. Even just saying things out loud. Because I tend to, I have ADD as well. So it makes it very hard, because whereas like normal people have negative thoughts, I do as well, but then my brain just takes it 10 times faster and further. Um, I tried to explain this to my therapist one time. I said, when, say, I asked my husband, do you like this shirt, or just this outfit look okay, or whatever? And he's like, yeah, it looks fine. And then like a normal person's brain might say like, I don't know what, I can't even pretend to understand. But my brain goes, why did he say it so quickly? Did he even look? Does he not even know that this is not even a new shirt? Like, I've had this for months. Does he not even notice what I wear? And then before I know it, I mean, it's like 47 seconds, and my brain is like, he hates you. He's probably going to divorce you soon. Like, it's so ridiculous. Um, so that's another reason I wanted to talk about like self love and self grace, because I have none, and I'll admit it. And I do definitely feel better just talking about things and knowing that I'm not alone. Good night, Sarah. As Ellen DeGeneres would say, be kind to yourself and be kind to one another. Yes. Yeah, maybe if people were kinder to themselves, then they would be more apt to be kind to other people. What do you think? I think a lot of people are hurting, and so they just lash out on people all the time. Because you know what? I don't think I was ever that bad, but like I've definitely grown a lot as a person. And once you get to a point where you like don't let things bother you so much, and you don't let other people control your emotions, then you're just a nicer person. So maybe if people would give themselves some grace and be kind to themselves, they would be kind to one another. Um, but yeah, I think this was really good. Sorry to be so personal. At least I didn't cry, though. I'm not gonna lie, I cried before the show when I was talking to my husband. Sometimes you just have to cry, and then you'll feel a little bit better. Um, when you're holding things in for a long time, and you're just letting them fester, and you're letting them get worse and worse, and not talking about it, then it just gets worse and worse. And sometimes you just have to cry, and that's fine. Um, Crying is actually good for you. Do some research on it. It's not a bad thing. It's good for you. It's like a cleanse for your soul. It just kind of washes problems away. Um, but I'm glad that I didn't cry on the show. Tina's glad she didn't cry, or I didn't cry, because then she would have. I know, Tina, it's so funny because I made this show because I want other people to know, like, that they're not alone. I want people to understand that these big emotions that you're feeling, like, other people feel them too, and other people go through things all the time. And, we look at social media and we're like, "Oh, no, I'm definitely the only person feeling this way, and I'm the only person who gets mad at their kids and whatever." And, I make this whole show just to tell other people that they're not alone. And then here's me like, "I'm all alone." It's ridiculous. But that's why I wanted to talk about, treating yourself the way you treat other people. I'll sit here and tell you guys all day long, like, you're not alone, but then me, I'm like, oh, I have to deal with these emotions on my own. I can't tell anybody. I'm a hypocrite. Okay. Obviously. But I hope that you guys know that you can reach out if you are ever struggling. Um, Obviously, if it ever gets to a point where it's, you want to hurt yourself or someone else, then make sure you talk to somebody other than me, somebody more skilled than me, somebody who is a medical professional. Um, but yeah, I'm always here. The show is always here. If you guys ever want to talk about something, if you want to remain anonymous, if you have something that happens, you can message the show and I will figure out a way to get you, get your comment up there without anybody seeing it. I can always just comment as the show, or I can always just put it up on the screen. And I think you'll see that, you're not alone. There's other people that have been through that stuff or felt that way. So seriously, if you guys ever want to talk about something, just message it to the show and we'll make sure that we get it on here. Because I do love when you guys comment. It makes me feel so much better. I would wonder, I'm like, oh, I hope people understand what I'm doing with this show. I hope people understand what it is. And it's, like we talked about on the first show, the logo is the hobo symbol, they're called, for a safe camp. I want people to understand that this is this is a safe space where you guys can talk about what's going on, and nobody's ever going to be judgmental or whatever. We don't put up with bullies here, so just remember that. But I will talk to you guys next week. And I appreciate every single one of you for joining and for commenting and making me feel better. I do feel better. It was like an hour therapy session with my best friends. So I appreciate you guys so much. And get your requests in for topics. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.